Is our condition of life defined by white American racism and police brutality? We hear this all day, every day. A bunch of middle-class blacks from our universities are leading demonstrations and saying that the problems that we're facing is primarily caused by white people. Stop. That is not our problem. Racial discrimination may be a problem, but is not the most critical problems that we're facing today. If that were the case, between 1930 and 1940, when racial discrimination was embedded in law, when we had no black political figures, when we had no people in law enforcement, the family formation rate, or marriage rate in black community was higher than it was in the white community. Elderly people, elderly black people could walk in places like Southeast Washington and other low-income black neighborhoods without fear of being mugged by their grandchildren. And so conditions of race have never defined us as a people. Those are challenges that are external, but internal. And so the reason that I challenged my young friend is that it is important to recognize that the destiny of black people is not determined by what white people do or do not do. It is in our own hands. White people are not in our communities mugging one another. White people are not in our community. It is our values that determine our condition in life, not what some oppressor has done.
What's going on, everyone? Sauce here today, and this is going to be a personal kind of take of mine that racism is not the biggest issue facing Black America. Now, it's Black History Month. Everyone's it's sensitive right now about Black issues, race in America, and I kind of want to try to make this argument, and I think it's a solid one, is that racism is not the biggest issue stopping Black America. As you saw from the intro, that was Robert Woodson, someone I've been reading his work a lot. I agree a lot with his sentiment, his worldview, is that the fate of my people or fate of a group is not determined by what another group decides to do or don't do. It's on them of how they move forward, right? You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. And the problem that I have with a lot of people who think racism is the biggest issue in Black America is that it's in my view, you're suffering from imagination, not from the reality. What is the reality of racism? It can't stop you. Racism can't stop me. I can say that with 100% confidence. And what you'll get is people who are trying to convince you to believe that racism can stop you. And there's a famous saying, a famous quote. This is why I like to read philosophy. A man who can and a man who believes he can't are both usually right. So this is how I'm taking racism in the same light. If something can affect me based on how much I believe in it, why would I believe in it in the first place? So if you saying like, and this is the argument a lot of people who don't agree with me, a common argument that Black liberals, Black Democrats like to point out because they want to live in this idea that racism is somehow has a significant impact on their lives. They'll go, "Oh, Kenny, this is just based on your lived experience." Well, pot caught in the kettle black. I could say the same thing about you. Your limited experience, you think racism is a big issue in America. And based on my limited experience, I believe racism is not a big issue in America. Who's right? If you say both, then you explicitly acknowledge that racism is merely a subjective point. It's an imagination. But you can't show me the reality. If you tell someone, "Oh, point me out a law that stopped me from doing what I want to do because of my skin color," they can't. They go with vague terms like unconscious bias. Like, what the hell is that? What the hell does that mean? Nothing. It means nothing. And it seems like they just trying to make perception reality. And that's what's going on with the Black community right now. Perception is reality right now with the Black community. They have this perception that America's a racist country, right? But a racist country is flagging white pride as dangerous, right? Unreal. According to Facebook, this image is celebrating white heterosexual pride month goes against their guideline because it praises or supports people and organizations we define as dangerous. If America was a racist country, as Black people say, if America was a country built on white supremacy and systematic racism, why would they demonize or allow a condemnation against white pride? And isn't this racist? Like, this is a question I have to ask black people. Isn't this racist? Black people are allowed to be proud of their race, but white people are not allowed to be proud of their race. LGBTQ people can be proud of their sexuality, but straight people can't be proud of their sexuality. Why? Because we have power? Because we're the majority? Just because someone's a majority doesn't mean they're wrong. Just because they're a majority doesn't mean they're evil. The same way, just because you're a minority, it means you don't deserve any rights. We went from tyranny of the majority to tyranny of the minority. And this is what's going on in our culture right now. I'll review a comment before I go through with my video. Straight white people are the only people you can openly discriminate against and not face any backlash. But also, white people hold all the power. Make it make sense. Cognitive dissonance. And this is the reality. Racism is not a big issue in the black community. It's not. It's our values and our behaviors is what is defining our negative outcomes in America today. Robert Woodson, and then I'll go into the video that sparked this conversation in my mind. He opened my eyes to the resilience of the black community. Black History Month is supposed to point out that, because end of the day, history, anyone can cherry pick any range of time in history. It's what you do with the history is what matters. How are you using the history? Are you using the history as a lesson? Are you using the history as a way of encouragement, emboldening your people to move forward? Show where your people came from and then inspire them to continue? What messaging are you using history for? And for too often I see in Black History Month is people use the history, cherry pick history, and use it to push a narrative that racism can't stop you. There's no point in trying in this society because it's against you. Look at what happened in the past. But is it our present? That's the problem I have. In Black History Month, people and race hustlers, black liberals, black Democrats, they want to push this narrative of looking backwards but think you can move forward. How? How, Sway? Using history to justify their current resentment. When the white people of today had nothing to do with slavery, they didn't benefit from slavery, you didn't suffer from slavery, yet you want to use those instances in the past because these people are of the same race and you're of the same race, but you don't want to, and then you want to piggyback off the struggle. You want to use this to glorify and claim entitlements, reparations. You see where it is. This is merely an attempt to blackmail and extort white people of other races. And I believe it's based on some narcissism that's going on in black culture, that because of your skin color, you think you have it harder than other people. And that's why I'm making this argument that racism is not a big issue in America today. Because even during the height of racism, and then I'll go into this video, even during the height of racism, they couldn't stop black people. Black people had group economics. Black people had a parallel economy. Black people were graduating from Harvard without affirmative action. Ask your boy W.E. Du Bois. Sitting with presidents, Booker T. Washington. Creating the Negro Business League in the 1920s. Bro. Making our own hotels. Oh, you don't want to give us a hotel? We'll make our own. Now what happened? You can't control what happens to you. Black people couldn't control that. White people didn't want them to be in their hotels. How did the black people respond in the 1920s? Okay, we'll build our own. And all I'm saying is, hey, this mentality should be a part of black culture. And instead of being praised, okay, I see where you go, I get demonized for it. Because I have the goal to believe that I am a white man's equal. That I'm just as capable as anyone in this society to be successful or to fail on my own merits. When I fail in life, it's not anyone else's fault but mine. When I fail a math test, it's not because the math test is racist. It's because I didn't study enough. I didn't prepare enough. It's because of my lack of ability and preparedness is why I failed the test. I'm not going to go sit here, use my race as an alibi to make excuses for my shortcomings. And this too long is this is the value system that's been perpetrating in the black community. And I think that's the biggest problem in the black community, not racism. Because for every instance that people try to point as an example of racism, I can show you another example of it being due to your behaviors, due to your actions, due to your decision making. We're in poverty because of generational wealth. No, how about in the 1960s, war on poverty, black women chose to be single moms because they got a government benefit And they use that fact to go against their men. And they go, oh, I don't need no man. Y'all started a culture. Y'all started a value system that started a trend that put you in this position. Stats show that married couples are less prone to poverty than single people. So if you got a bunch of women in single parent households, it's almost like you speaking into existence that the kids will grow up in poverty. The mom gets the benefit off the policy positions of today, but future generations suffer. Lack of opportunity, lower quality of life, bad education, low investment in their education, poverty and all the problems that it brings, high rates of crime, more economic pressure, all because of the decision of your mom. But no. Instead of your mom taking accountability for that, oh, I should have chosen a better man. Hey, I shouldn't have taken government handouts over a family structure. No. Your mom not going to accept accountability for that. She's going to blame what? Racism. And this is why racism seems to be the religion of black culture. But I'm done ranting. This is just some of my thoughts. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. But I want to kind of give my commentary over this video about a college professor, trying to get students to make an argument opposite of their worldview. Let's take a look.
But you're going to make the argument. And so the two of you at least, have some idea because you've thought about it. And so give it a shot, and then they'll coach you a little bit.
I would really say that a lot of the, I don't believe this, but I'm just going to say it.
No, hang on. If I
did believe that.
No, don't say that.
Okay, I do believe
I
that.
am in the role. I am here. Start your sentence with, listen, racism, discrimination, it's not really that big of a problem in the U.S. because ...
Yeah, it's really not that big of a problem in the U.S. because a lot of the examples that people use to justify it, it's very one-off and very extreme examples, specifically with police fines for everything. There's a lot of interactions that black people have with cops that aren't projected by the news. But then the one or two bad ones is what's resaid a million times.
I guess similar to that. It's not a huge issue. I think it's made a bigger issue through media and social media. The fact that we all have basically computers in our back pockets and can start recording anything at a given time and post it on the internet or edit things to make them look like something they're not.
And that's the case here, right? Police brutality is the same thing, because if you look at the actual results, right? Not perception. Let's look at the results, because data proves a result, not a narrative. Okay, the result is 19 black men on average die at the hands of cops. Is that a police brutality problem, really? Because if you look at the whites, there's more whites that die at the hands of cops than blacks. But what gets perpetrated in the social media, national media? What gets news? Like I said, my common argument is normal does not get news. Doing something that's normal does not get attention. Abnormal things get attention. What's normal? Blacks killing other blacks. Blacks killing whites. Blacks hurting other racial groups. What's not common is whites attacking blacks. Asians attacking blacks. The minute it happens, oh my God, because it's so out of the norm. And that's my argument for why a lot of this stuff gets a lot of attention. I digress. Let's continue.
So a lot of what you see is fake news, I guess.
I believe that racism is not an issue because we elected a black president, and we have black senators and governors, and a lot of the time the difference between rich black people and poor black people isn't race, it's just education. So a lack of education in black communities is a
education, values, beliefs, right? I just told you my belief, right? And I come from a more conservative background. My dad's a Republican. My mom's a Democrat. I come from a political, diverse family, right? My dad taught me, hey, Kenny, be so good that no one can deny you. Be so good that it'll be dumb not to hire you. That's the mentality my father put in me. And now I want to put that same perception on my kids. I want to pass down. That's a tradition I want to pass down. That's something my father started. As a black immigrant, he came here, met my mom. I'm born here, first American son. That's why my name is Kenny. And then he infused his values in me, and then now I'm passing it down to his grandkids, my 2 sons. But because I have this mentality, a lot of black folks will get mad about me. Like, make it make sense. My results speak for itself. I'm 27 years old, married, homeowner, good job because I focus on acquiring a high income skill, even though it was hard to get the skill. But hey, I did it anyway. I didn't use setbacks as a reason to give up, quit. I persevered through setbacks, through failures. And in too long in black culture, it seems like they push this idea that, hey, just blame everything on racism. Oh, you failed the class? Racism. Your teacher was racist. The test wasn't catered to how you learn. And last time I checked, the human condition is not for the world to adapt to you. It's for you to adapt to the world. It's for you to adapt to your environment. Because there used to be a big consequence if humans did not adapt. If you didn't adapt to the fact that a tiger took over your land and you only had 2 options, either you fight it or you run, if you didn't adapt, you died. There used to be a physical consequence for people who didn't adhere to reality. But now that we live in a culture that's so safe, so great, that now you have people who can believe suffer from imagination. They're more frightened by the idea of racism than the actual reality of it. It's almost to the point that black culture holds racism like a religion, and that any black person that speak out against the impacts of racism is seen as blasphemy. Tell me I'm lying in the comments. Tell me if I'm lying. Tell me if I'm lying. I digress. Let's continue.
Bigger problem than any other discrimination.
All right, go ahead, man.
It's a lot of the discrimination that we see is like institutionalized oppression, and even if it is real. Or
Wait, did you say it's institutionalized oppression? Dude, was that your word? No, that's all right. You got no. Look, if you think that, you got to throw those words out there to confuse people. Yeah, it's institutionalized oppression. So all the liberals are like, oh yeah, that guy gets it. He's got it. He's talking oppression. All right, go ahead.
And I lost my train of thought. And it, even if you are a victim of institutionalized oppression, playing the victim card or like dwelling on it doesn't allow you to progress further. So we're holding ourselves back in that aspect, and it's.
Yeah, exactly. You condition a group of people to be helpless based on their skin color. You condition mentally a group of people to view their race as some type of handicap. I don't believe my race is a handicap. So therefore, if you're trying to make a racism can stop us, essentially you're saying that I can do nothing about the situation. This is why I'm a conservative. Liberals here trying to coddle and enable people to feel self-pity over stuff that may not even be true. It's possible that racism could be a big deal, but the reality and the possibility of it is not likely. It's not likely that you failed your test because of racism. It's not likely that you're in the position that you're in life because of racism. It's less likely. It's more likely that the location you grew up in is more of a cause for why you're in poverty than your skin color. That's a fact. So this game of, oh my God, racism is our biggest issue no, I don't believe that. America is not a racist country. Look at the public sentiments of most whites. You live in the least racist time in American history, yet black people are doing the worst. Make it make sense. That proves the intro point that Robert Woodson said in the beginning, that black people's outcomes are not decided on whether white people validate them or not, whether white people accept them or not. It's based on your internal values. It's based on how you respond to the situation. It's based on how your actions and behaviors decide your outcomes, not whether a race or group of people like you or not. And this is what I'm saying. I don't care about being liked, and I think that's why I'm able to express myself the way I do. This is why I say a black community needs tough love. I think tough love is necessary now in the black community because for too long we have let the liberals enable us into oblivion. The black family survived slavery, Jim Crow, racism in all levels, institution, cultural, political, no political leadership representing black voices. We survived. The black family survived all that. The one thing the black family couldn't survive was liberal ideology, liberal policies, conditioning and incentivizing certain behaviors that inevitably in the long term destroyed the black community. We succumb to instant gratification. Oh, I'm gonna take this free money right now, and then in future generations, it condemned a whole nation, a whole community into poverty, low expectations, a deterioration of values. But these same people want to say, oh no, racism is the big problem. Not our decisions, not the incentives that liberal policies has instilled in our system. And they will say it's systematic racism. No, it's systematic liberal policy. That's what destroyed the black community, not systematic racism. I'm gonna let it play out for 2 more minutes and then I'll wrap up the video.
It's more of a self problem than a.
So it's really an issue of people who have given up at some level their
I just
individual
think that the world is
motivation.
against them.
Okay, right. To overcome the odds that are against.
Another one that I believe is that it's definitely not a big issue in the U.S. compared to other countries, because in almost every country you can find some sort of persecuted group, and specifically in the U.S., the persecuted group, if you're talking about black people, has a lot of like power against like if you say someone's being racist towards you, like you can like have a way to like hit them back. But in a lot of other countries, like if you made that same complaint, like no one would care because like you're the persecuted group. So in that way, again, it's not that big of an issue in the U.S. because at least there's a way to like attack the racists if they exist.
People who are in minoritized communities, right? They actually, ironically, have been empowered a great degree in the United States by being able to identify and isolate and say something about the things that happen to them, and then it can be a real problem, like end up on the front page of CNN. That, you know, Sam Richards and so, well, maybe not CNN, but the Collegian, that Sam Richards discriminated against someone in class because whatever, he's a racist. Like, oh my God, that's like a headline on it. Maybe the Collegian, but nobody else would care. All right, yeah, go ahead.
A lot of the problems that we see are less about race and more about your economic class or like your.
I agree. See, look, that's one thing I can agree on. If a black Democrat came on my channel and he made a comment saying, "Hey, Kenny, it's based on economics, bro. Economics is the biggest determiner of the reason why the black community is in this state right now," I'll say I agree, sir. Because at the end of the day, economics is based on what? Your decisions, your education, your skill. That's what decides your economic position, not your skin color. Right? And I like this exercise that try to make an argument that is your opposite view, your opposite opinion, because then it gets you more to the center. And that's all I'm trying to say here. That's the argument I'm trying to make here. Is that black people kind of exclude themselves. They do things like Black Lives Matter. Like, okay, so are you saying white lives don't matter? Are you saying Mexican lives don't matter? You don't think Hispanic lives matter? No. We're all inclusive, but we have to be on the forefront of it though. Huh? Can someone like that really think nuance? And this is what I'm talking about. Black people have this kind of holding pattern that they keep displaying in our culture, in mainstream media, in the open, that they have this culture of isolating themselves, always excluding themselves from other people. And it's them doing it, not other people doing it. It's them. They pull away from other people. Oh, representation matters. I can't relate to someone unless they share skin suits with me. Only black people are saying that. But if a white person opened his mouth and say, I don't feel relatable to this character because he's black. Racist! Come on, guys. I enjoyed the video a lot. I hope you guys do. I'm gonna leave the links to both these videos, the Woodson video in the intro, and also this one that I kind of used to, steer my commentary. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section. Do you agree with me? Do you agree that racism is not a big issue in the black community, or you don't agree? Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. I would like to hear it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.